It is Monday, April the 27th, and we are coming off a very, very busy week here at 609. Full NFL draft recap. We'll give our winners, we'll give our losers, we'll give some of our top picks through the draft. We had some veteran trades happen during the draft. We also have a little George Pickens news to share with everybody that came down last week. So kick your week off right. Sit back, relax, come talk with us because another edition of Unbiased is live and it starts right now. Good evening, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Unbiased, only here on 609 Sports Talk Radio, coming to you guys live from a beautiful Hamilton, New Jersey on this Monday evening. This is the show for all the unbiased sports talk that you can ask for. And as always, we are your host, Tyler Adams. I'm Sam Nelson. Mr. Adams, how are we doing tonight?
Oh, we're just celebrating another return of the Victory Monday.
How do you have a Victory Monday? How do you have a Victory Monday during the off season?
Well, when you have such a great NFL draft, it's a Victory Monday.
That is true. That is true. You have told me this in the past. This is how you rank your Victory Mondays. You and Carol, you both have the Victory Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
But as Tyler's brought up, we are coming off the NFL draft. And before we get into today's show, we just want to say a big super thank you to everybody that joined us during our live NFL draft coverage. We did the live reaction show on Thursday night for the entire first round. We were on for 3 hours into night 2, reacting to the picks on rounds 2 and most of round 3. You know, that's a little, 4 hours is a little crazy, but we hit that 3-hour mark almost on both shows for once. We actually didn't hit 3 hours on night 1. The NFL actually let us off early for once. But we just want to give a big thank you to everybody who came out, commented with us, enjoyed those 2 nights with us. We greatly appreciate all you guys. And we just want to say thank you one more time for making those draft shows so fun for all of us here at 609. But now, Tyler, let's get into it. We have a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about some stuff with the Cowboys later. You know, George Pickens, there's some stuff going on there. Nothing major, just a little something I find very interesting. But we're going to get into the draft. We're going to kick it right off there. We're going to go draft winners and losers. We're also going to give our top 5 value picks of the draft, which picks basically provided a lot of value to where they were taken. I think there's some big steals in this draft, especially where these guys were taken. And I really, really think we hit the nail on the head with some of them. So, Tyler, how do we want to do this? We want to start with winners and losers, and we want to just rotate one by one?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so where do we want to start? Do we want to start with our winners, or do we want to start with our losers?
You decide.
All right. Well,
just so you know, mine are in no particular order.
Yeah, no, I didn't put mine in particular order either because I think my top 2 winners basically both had equally the same draft.
Yeah.
I think they both just nailed it right off the gun. So, yeah, we'll start with our winners, and I'll let you start us off.
All right. So, the team I'm starting off with, I don't think it comes as any surprise. Probably the team that I would say had the best draft, the New York Jets. I just love everything they did. I mean, I will say when you have 3 first-round picks, you better have a pretty good draft. So them being able to scrape up David Bailey, Kenyon Sadiq, Omar Cooper, D'Angelo Pons even, out of Indiana. I think he's going to be a special player for them. And then, even getting Cade Klubnik in the fourth round. I don't know. Maybe you got someone on the organization of the Jets that can develop a quarterback. Now I just sound like a liar.
Yeah. What's up, Dalton?
Dalton,
I gotta say, brother, I did check out a little bit of your guys' reactions. I'm a little upset with some of the Makai Lemon reaction I saw. I ain't gonna lie. I saw a little bit of uncertainty with it. I don't like what I heard, but it's okay because I still love you. We gotta get Dalton on a Birds episode soon, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Dalton, it was a roller coaster, especially when you trade up from 23 to 20 with Dallas. I love drafting up with Dallas. There's some people in Pittsburgh that are pissed about that.
Oh,
but
they are very upset about that. Ooh, what's going on, Dennis?
Dennis, I want to get you on an episode of Birds as well. I'm gonna make those two things happen in the coming weeks. So trust, I got you guys.
Sam's gonna take the night off.
No, yeah, well, if Dennis is here, I may have to.
He's gonna duck the smoke.
No, I'll definitely get that here. But no, it was a heck of a draft. It was a fun night, fun weekend. I personally think day 3 needs a little reconstructing because, man, going 6 hours from rounds 4 through 7, dude, it's not easy. That's your whole day. Starts at noon.
Rounds 4 through 7, that's where the phone tracking comes in.
I went to game 4.
Turn on the notifications.
I went to game 4 of the Flyers game. It was an 8 o'clock puck drop. The draft ended at like 7:30. Yes, I just said it live on the air. Clip if you want.
Yes, Dennis, Sam is a numbnuts. I agree.
I am, but no, I got you. I will get you on I will get you on an episode of Birds. Definitely, that is something I want to do. Trust me, I got some. I got freedom. I got a lot more freedom on that show, so a lot more schedule freedom for that one. So yeah, we'll definitely. I got you guys. I want to get you guys, both of you guys, on an episode of Birds. Dennis, honestly, it did until Makai Lemon dropped into the 20s.
That was personally a few other shocks in the draft. Not going to spoil anything for my list later on.
No, we ain't going to go and spoil stuff. But Tyler, back to your first pick. You have the Jets as a winner.
I do. I think by far and away, they pulled away with the best draft. And given 3 first-round picks, you should.
Well, I remember the Omar Cooper pick, they traded back into the first round again.
Yeah.
Because remember, they got multiple firsts coming next year, too, from the Sauce Gardner and Quinton Williams trades. The Jets actually may be on to being a decently ran organization for once. They may be on their way. I don't know how much on their way, but they could be on their way.
I will believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I didn't say they were there yet, but they're on track at least. I'll say that.
Yeah, well, the Sixers were on track to make it to a finals, and Ben Simmons happened. So.
When? What? That would have just got us to the freaking conference finals. What?
All right, fine. The Kawhi ball bounced 5 times.
That was probably the closest one.
So who do you got?
Well, unfortunately, my number 1 winner is also the Jets. Because here's the thing. When you're able to add in your first 4 picks 4 guys that will most likely contribute on day 1, that's a win.
They should all be day 1 starters. No doubt. Easily.
And David, like I said, the big question going into the draft was, what would the Jets do? Would they go with the production in college of David Bailey or the upside of Arvell Reese? Aaron Glenn is, when his defense was at the top, he got that boy Aiden Hutchinson in Detroit running off one side of the edge. Mm-hmm. Now, You're going into a draft where you need to add some top tier talent on the defensive side and offensive side of the ball. And I don't think, here's what I think the Jets did. The Jets do not have a long term answer at quarterback. I think we can agree there. Geno is a nice stopgap. What they're doing is they are preparing for when it is time to go get that quarterback. Because when you go get that quarterback, you will not be short of weapons or talent around you. Because if you look at this Jets on both sides of the ball now, I mean, they've done a lot of work.
Oh, yeah. Especially the offense. I mean, the offense has talent at almost every skill position now.
Yeah. I mean, you got Garrett Wilson, Omar Cooper Jr. You have Kenyon Sadiq, who's the best tight end in this draft. Omar Cooper was probably he's easily one of the 4 best receivers in this draft. I had him a lot higher. I thought he should have went higher than where he did. I mean, he still went in the first round, but I thought personally he could have went just a little higher. So you add that opposite of like we said of Garrett Wilson. I know some people were kind of skeptical with the Kenyon Sadiq pick because it was like, well, why did you spend the 42nd overall pick last year on Mason Taylor? Do you guys understand how many bit extra personnel the NFL runs now, the 12 and 13 personnel? Teams are using 2 tight end sets like they're going out of style.
And also 2 very contrasting tight ends.
Yeah.
So they are both going to get a lot of playing time.
Because they're going to run both of these tight ends on the field at the same time. And Kenyon Sadiq, you could look. And a lot of people are concerned about the fits with Sadiq and Cooper. You could put Sadiq on the outside. That's what a mismatch he is. Oh, Dennis, I'm trying my best not to remember that. I'm trying to be fair to Jets fans right now. I think they had to look, Dennis. We got to give them the weekend. They've gone through a lot, but I think they're off to I think they are close to being a decently ran organization.
Or you think they're close to takeoff?
Maybe. I think the plane's facing the right direction. I don't know if it's ready to take off yet, but the plane is at least on the runway.
All right.
All right. Let's say they're turning it to the right direction. Let's say that.
I'm glad
it's not there yet.
Glad you picked that up where I left it off. Yes, Dennis, that is what ruined Sidney Brown. We will all just agree with that statement.
I'm not doing the Sidney Brown stuff tonight. When he's on Birds with us, we'll let him have we'll let him have at that because I'm not doing that. But back to what you were saying about Cade Klubnik. Look, it's okay to have Cade be maybe he's a developmental guy. You could develop him, maybe. I mean, let's be real. There are a lot of quarterbacks in this draft that some people have projected, going in the first round that disappointing seasons really cost them. I mean, there were some way too early mock drafts. At one point, how we released the mock draft the next year, right after the year that we're in? Somebody released a 2026 mock draft last year that had Klubnik, Aller, and Nussmeier all going in round 1. Mendoza didn't. So that just proves to you how much a year can change something.
Yep.
That is how much. Dennis, if you look at the amount of talent they've added, they could. I didn't say they were close to takeoff. The plane is getting turned, and
let's put it in these terms. With the amount of talent they've added, they loaded up the plane. Now they're trying to figure out which direction to fly it in, and then maybe eventually, when they get their franchise quarterback in the future, they'll be able to take off.
Which next year it will be a lot better of a quarterback draft than this past year.
Yes.
This year's draft class was not. Dennis, it's been like this for about 5-6 years now, so don't even try it.
Going through the seasons.
This is what Kevin Batulo's offense does to you. Ask Jeff Stoutland. Oh, good. I'm not. Nope. Not doing it. Nope. Not doing it. Dennis, I'm not doing it.
Not touching that one with a 100-foot pole.
I'm not touching that with 3 hockey sticks taped together, which is what the Flyers are going to need to score a goal tonight. Because right now the Penguins are up 1-0, 10 minutes into the game. But no, like I said, you get your top edge rusher in David Bailey. I thought he was a top 5 player in the draft.
He was.
And I understand why they took him. Like I said, you're either going with that or you're going with the potential of an Arvell Reese. Clearly the Giants did. But the Jets, I like that pick. Kenyon Sadiq's the best tight end in the draft. And again, he is such a unique player. He's not just your stereotypical tight end. You could line him up as a tight end. You can line him up in the slot. You can line him up outside. He is going to be a mismatch in this league. And I know a lot of people question, well, why'd you do this after drafting Mason Taylor? Mason Taylor and Kenyon Sadiq can easily be on the field together. The little bit more of the question is with Omar Cooper because of how much of his routes start in the slot. But again, Sadiq can line up on the outside.
Yeah.
Dennis, don't bring that negativity in my chat. This is the first meaningful hockey that we have had in years. Do not do this right now. And then again, back to Omar Cooper. He was one of my favorite wide receivers in the draft. I wanted him to be a Philadelphia Eagle if Mekhi Lemon was not there. Somehow he was. So, and then again, you go and get D'Angelo Pons, who, yeah, I know people will say, oh, he's only 5'8". And I don't know if that translates to an outside corner in the NFL. He does not play like he's 5'8".
He doesn't.
Go watch that Indiana defense. He was the focal point almost. He set the tone almost every single game they played. He set the tone somehow. Go ask Oregon in the playoff how much of a tone setter he was. The first play of the game, he picks Dante Moore off and goes to the house with it.
Yeah. Oh, he plays way bigger than his size. That's why I think that they definitely got a special one there.
I also love his pro comp being Aaron Glenn.
Oh, I know.
That was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
But no, yeah, I think the Jets are one of the 2 top winners in the draft without a doubt.
Ooh.
Let's dive into another winner. You want to go again? Or you want me to go with number 2?
You kick it off. I'm kind of scared if we're gonna have the same one.
Dennis, I can tell you right now, you can say it all you want. Indiana's going to have a lot more success before it's all said and done.
Yeah. The way Cignetti coaches his teams, way different than the current college coaching landscape.
It's going to be there may be, I'm not saying it is going to be very hard to duplicate the runs that Ohio State and Alabama have, but as long as Cignetti is in Indiana, they are going to have a good shot at the Natty every year. All right. So, yeah, I'm kind of afraid we have the same number 2 as well in terms of winners. I'm very scared. Mine is the Cleveland Browns.
Mine is not the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, then. No, Dennis. The reason Miami lost in the national title game was because Tyler and I said it each week leading up to that game. If Carson Beck makes that one crucial mistake, it's going to cost the Hurricanes. And unfortunately, he made the crucial mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, though, Miami they played them as tough as they could.
Oh, they did.
I thought Miami was riding high into that national title game, and I thought they had the big chance to win. It's just, it came down to a play that Carson Beck shouldn't have made. But anyway, back to the Cleveland Browns for me. I mean, again, here's how I look at this. When you nail on your first 4 picks, guys that I think are going to play day 1 of the first week, and they are going to be key contributors throughout the entire year into the rest of their career, you win the draft. I don't care from round 5 on then what you do. And actually, I think the Browns actually nailed their first 5 picks of this draft in terms of what their 5th pick will do.
Yeah. No, the Browns, they are a winner of mine as well.
So if you look at their first round, they get Spencer Fano. I don't know why Browns fans were upset about this early. You literally, your entire offensive line were free agents in March. You went out, you signed Jenkins away from the Packers, got
Mhm.
Zion Johnson from the Chargers, you got Titus Howard from the Texans, you brought back Tevin Jenkins to probably compete for the right guard spot. You need a left tackle and you need one of the future. If Browns fans want Shador Sanders to succeed, they've done a pretty good job of surrounding him with enough talent that will at least help him. I don't know if Shador's the guy. I don't think it's I don't think it's fair to say he is or isn't yet. I mean,
Yeah.
anything last year was going to be a shit show. Okay, I'm
I
trying
mean,
not to curse, but
he's not going to get a real shot this year either
uh why wouldn't they?
because there's going to be the shadow of the healthy Deshaun Watson. You know their fan base is split. There's still the people who are like, oh my gosh, all the potential, the money that they invested in him, the trade assets, this, that, and the other. I think it's time for them to move on. I feel like Shador Sanders earned the starting job last year, and he should head into the season being the starter. But I worry that Deshaun Watson's going to be that cloud overshadowing him. And the Browns may
You know,
also feel obligated to give him a chance to start.
ah, now that I will agree with. I still think Shador showed some things late in the season that he has earned the right to at least compete for the starting job. I don't want to hear
Oh yeah.
about that. He's 100% that Watson's just going to walk in. First of all, we haven't seen Deshaun Watson play football since tearing his Achilles. We don't
Mhm.
know what that's going to bring for them. But first off, good evening, Zolt.
What's going on, Zolt?
And Zolt said it 100% kills me to say this, but the Browns nailed their draft. It was more or less perfect for what they needed to do. And guess what? You can say this about their last two drafts. Last year's draft, Junkins, Fannin, Mason Graham, Carson Schlesinger. This year, back to what I was saying, you add Spencer Fano. Now you actually
Mhm.
have I think the Browns actually really have a solid offensive line.
They do.
Now, both the Jenkins, Elgin, and Tevin need to play well. Because remember, Elgin Jenkins failed his physical. Tevin has been kind of a
Mhm.
fringe starter. They need to be consistent. But
Yep.
those three that they have, I think Titus Howard's a good addition. Zion Johnson was one of the best guards available in free agency, gave him a big money contract. And Spencer Fonda was the second best tackle prospect in this draft. Then, now this is where it got kind of murky. Some Browns fans really weren't happy with the KC Concepcion pick. But then when you get Denzel Boston in round two, now it makes sense.
Yep.
Denzel Boston, he's going to be your big body physical receiver.
Yep.
Jerry Judy, he's going to be your possession guy. He's going to give you his maybe 60 to 75 catch season. KC Concepcion is the guy that can change a game in 2 to 3 plays.
Yeah. He's the guy that could have like 3 catches for 100 yards.
Yes, or he could have a big because he's also could bring stuff in the return game. You
Mm.
need a guy that can affect the game in 3 plays. Concepcion was a first round pick. I think we both had him as a
He
first round
was.
pick. I know Browns fans at first were upset about it, but then when you double back and get Denzel Boston in the second round, now it makes a lot more sense because you got the big body physical receiver on one side. You have Jerry Judy, who is still a very solid wide receiver, now especially. Yeah, I can make the case that Judy could be traded because
I mean, they honestly could.
not only do you have the two guys you just drafted, you got Quinshawn Junkins in the backfield along with Dylan Sampson. Don't forget about him from last year.
Yep.
And you have Harold Fanning Jr.
Yeah.
You are building up. And again, same thing with the Browns, just like with the Jets. If they don't feel their franchise quarterback is on their roster currently, whoever that will have no shortage of weapons to start their career out with.
Nope.
And
Not at all.
I think they're going to be coached better. Todd Monken's coming over. Their defense still has a lot of elite talent. They still have the best player in football, in my opinion, in Myles Garrett. Todd Monken coming over from that John Harbaugh regime. I think they're going to be coached a lot better. And I think they are on a very good trajectory as well. Like I said, they got the second best tackle in this draft. They got two of my top wide receivers in the draft. Oh, by the way, they also got Emmanuel McNeil Warren at the 58th pick, which he also should have been a first round pick.
Yep. But safeties are undervalued.
And hey, they also got Jay Jett as at linebacker.
I called it.
But no, but I also said their fifth pick. And now, them, what I like about what teams are starting to do, Cleveland and Dallas especially, teams are starting to value the swing tackle, the Fred Johnsons of the world. Because if one of your tackles go down, you got to have someone at least serviceable. So what do
Yeah.
the Browns do? They go and draft Austin Barber out of Florida. After they took McNeil Warren, their next pick they took was Barber. The Cowboys,
Mhm.
as much as it pains me, they drafted Drew Shelton, who was the left tackle for Penn State. I now have like three of my Penn State players I have to dislike now.
No, you don't.
Shelton's a Cowboy. Katron Allen's a Commander.
Just don't be a crumb.
I'm not happy, Tyler. I'm not happy. But no, I think the Browns nailed difference makers in their first four picks. And Austin Barber, I think, could develop into a very solid swing tackle, maybe a fringe starter, depending on how his career turns out. But the fact that they got McNeil Warren and Denzel Boston both in round two, that's disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
Those are guys that should have went in the first round. So that's my second winner is the Cleveland Browns.
Well, they are one of my winners, but they weren't my second.
Okay.
Real quick, I just want to touch on Anthony's comment. I hope you're not talking about Harold Fannin. They took tight ends in the 5th and 7th round.
No, those are
That in no way.
going to be
Those are special team
fringe.
players. Well, maybe the 5th round guy, he'll be, battling for tight end too. But the 7th rounder, he's probably special teams, maybe blocking situational.
Oh yeah, Joe Royer, yeah, he'll compete for that. Carson Ryan, I mean, you're going to have to fight for dear life to make that team.
Yeah.
And what Zolt said, this makes perfect. What he says is spot on. The starting left tackle position is much harder to get than a wide receiver. Doesn't matter who is going to be your quarterback, the left tackle will help. Yeah, and that's the thing. People say, oh, they want the receiver over the tackle. Well, you can't get the ball to the receiver if your quarterback's getting dropped on his head within 2 seconds.
Yep. And hey, if you get a talented enough tackle, maybe you could put him at tight end for a trick play.
And Anthony, I think he meant Deshaun Watson. Anthony, I'm not fully agreeing with this statement.
No, that's the thought process, though. That'll be the Browns' justification for why they need to have Watson out there. I don't agree with it, but that'll be their justification. Oh, he makes way too much money. He can't be the backup. Why not? Who cares?
Yeah, I could care less about how much money he makes. Shador earned at least a shot.
So, moving on to my list, another one of my teams. I'm going to go, this is my third team here because I did have the Browns and you touched on basically everything. So, we're not going to double back to them. I got the Baltimore Ravens. Oh my goodness, Jesus! All right.
So Debo's the size of a nose tackle right about now. Him and Devondre Sweat should do the 40-yard dash together.
Stop. Debo's gonna be taking over for Trent Williams when he retires in a couple years.
Oh dear God, what are you doing right now?
Hey, I didn't start this. All right.
No, you didn't.
But yeah, my second favorite team winning the draft, Baltimore Ravens. They had a lot of draft capital. That also helps when you back out of a trade. But with that being done, they landed.
Before you continue, can we just all come to an agreement that backing out of the Max Crosby trade was best for both teams?
I think it was, yes. Even the Raiders, I still think it works out for the Raiders in the long run now, too.
Yeah, I think it worked out for both teams fine.
Yeah.
But continue.
The Ravens got their future starting guard, the best guard in this draft.
I can still like Owane. I can still like him.
Can't pronounce his first name.
Just call him Vega. I call him Vega Owane.
Vega Owane.
Everyone at Penn State called him that.
And oh man, he's gonna block everything, including the sun out. Hopefully, he doesn't block Lamar Jackson. But speaking of Lamar Jackson, I like the picks that they made with getting Jacoby Lane in the third round and Elijah Surratt in the fourth round.
It's a steal.
That is a steal. And another great pick. They got Zion Young in the second round, help out their pass rush. Their pass rush was really weak last year. They couldn't really get to any pressure to the quarterback at all. So hopefully that helps in kind of revamping that Ravens defense to what we have once known it to be. But offensively, I mean, you go out and you get two behemoths for Lamar to throw the football to now. Still got Zay Flowers, your playmaker. But now you get two big target, sure-handed receivers that can go and get the contested catches. And it's just a great situation. Not to mention, drafted probably maybe a guy who can compete to take Mark Andrews' spot in the next year or two by taking Matthew Hibner from SMU. But just the value they added overall. I mean, they took another tight end out of Alabama, Josh Cuevas. They got themselves a punter late in the draft.
That's the Ravens special. They're either taking a kicker or a punter.
Oh yeah,
eventually.
They are a team that is not afraid to draft special teams needs in the draft. Tyler Lopp last year.
Anthony, the previous Ravens regime did not use their wide receivers.
Yes, got to remember.
This is a new day in Baltimore, but they needed to address it. Zay Flowers has been the only consistent pass catcher on that team. They lost Isaiah Likely in free agency. And I was surprised because of losing Isaiah Likely and having Mark Andrews kind of being not a question mark, but clearly kind of lost a step from the player he was, not going and addressing tight end maybe a little earlier. Maybe they're switching. Maybe they are going to go more heavy on their wide receivers. I did find it funny that Cowboy fans said Jacoby Lane was the better USC wide receiver, and he's why Mekhi Levin did what he did. I just love their thought process. Cracks me up.
Okay. You're right.
But Jacoby Lane, like you say, he's a 6'4", big body receiver. He can go up and get it. Elijah Surratt, I think, had no business being in round 4. No business.
Not at all. Not at all.
So you have Lane on one side, Flowers on the other. Maybe Surratt's operating out of the slot. I like these picks for Baltimore too. They actually did not make it into my 5 winners. It was tough picking 5 winners. It really was.
Yeah.
But I would have had them as an honorable mention, without a doubt. Those first few picks, I think they nailed. So that brings me to my number 3 winner. Now, you said you had the Browns, and we kind of touched on that already.
Mm-hmm.
My number 3 winner in this year's NFL draft, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Really?
I hate saying that. You have no idea how much it burns.
I got a team that I'm going to hate to say here soon.
Yeah, well, hey, we look at the show title. We have to be fair. I think it is safe to say, since the Super Bowl against the Eagles, from that day on, the Chiefs' defense looks like it's kind of lost something. It looked slower, didn't look as explosive. They have needed some new blood. Well, they traded up to number 6 to get the best corner in the class in Mansour Delane. You lose Trent McDuffie, lose Watson, lost Brian Cook at safety. Now, they did have some young players from their previous draft class that they are high on. So Delane's going to be easily, if Score Mobile could spell correctly for me, it would be great. Because I just can't get the Chiefs' depth chart on my freaking phone right now. But anyway, they are high on some players that they brought in. They brought Alohi Gilman in, so he's probably going to help replace Brian Cook leaving to Cincinnati. But they are very high on Noel Williams, who they took out of the 3rd round last year out of California. He played all 17 games, 5 starts, 37 tackles. As a rookie corner, I think they're very high on him. So I think their vision is to have him and Delane be the starters together. And like I said, Delane's the best freaking corner in the draft. It's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Then they come back late in the first round, and I think they're starting to prepare. They're actually preparing more for Chris Jones' departure than Travis Kelsey's. I mean, Peter Woods easily was one of the top interior defensive linemen in this draft class. They go bring him
Mhm.
in. Then I think, like, we brought this up on draft night. George Karlaftis is a very good physical edge rusher. They've been missing an athlete on the other side of him. And our Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma is nothing more than an athlete. If you go watch Oklahoma's defense, which it was strong through most of the year, it kept them in a lot of games this year, especially after John Matier got hurt and their offense struggled because of it. It kept them in a lot of games. And our Mason Thomas can wreak havoc on an offensive line. So now you got some youth on that defensive line now with Thomas and Woods. You still have Chris Jones, who didn't have, I mean, last year was probably a down year in terms of his standards, but that's probably a career year for some interior defensive linemen. And you have
Exactly.
Karlaftis coming off the other edge. You still got Nick Bolton and Drew Tranquil. Unfortunately, Steve Spagnuolo's unit has been reloaded with some very nice, fresh young talent. And even after that, they brought in Jaden Kennedy, a safety from Oregon, another guy who could play some nickel. They're going to need to find some depth at nickel because Trent McDuffie's departing. It's not just losing your number one corner; you're losing an entire weapon in your secondary.
Yeah.
McDuffie could play all over the field. They're going to miss that versatility he brought. But if Kennedy hits, you'll have him. Delane, Noah Williams, you could have a little bit of a decent trio there, in my opinion. And then they brought in Cyrus Allen later in the draft. That's such an Andy pick, a late round wide receiver that will probably turn into a 600 to 700 yard receiver, 2 or 3, depending on who's on the field or who's not on the field.
Or who's in jail.
And
I mean,
then,
on the field.
whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa, whoa.
And then go with a little project, getting Garrett Nussmeyer,
Hey,
develop him into that new
yeah,
backup.
if there's a coach that can develop him a little bit, get some production out of him, maybe they flip him in a few years.
Yeah, it's never bad to have a fully developed backup behind Mahomes. Not saying Mahomes is injury prone. He's far from that. But, coming off a torn ACL, you have Justin Fields there as your veteran backup. Now you have Nussmeier as like your QB3. And I think Nussmeier should have went a lot higher. Now, there was some concern with that situation with the cyst on
Yeah.
his spine. Some teams got scared off of that. But the Chiefs are the perfect team that could take a swing on that because they have Justin Fields. They have Mahomes. Come on.
Yep.
They got the best
Exactly.
quarterback in football. They have the best quarterback in the NFL. So yeah, I have the Chiefs as one of my winners. I really like what they did with their defense. I think their
I have
top
them
four picks could
as an
contribute from day
honorable
one.
mention for my list.
Okay.
So
So
another team I had, the Las Vegas Raiders.
okay.
I like what they pulled off. Obviously, the first overall pick, Mendoza, their future franchise quarterback. We all know that. No brainer. I do like the pick of Trey Dance Stukes out of Arizona. I think it's kind of an underrated pick. People didn't really expect it because, still had McNeil Warren on the board. Um, Pretty sure Thieneman was still on the board at that point. Oh, he was gone already?
Steinman went in round 1.
Oh, okay. But again, they're just addressing needs, filling holes on the roster. Then round 3 comes around. They take Crawford out of Auburn. Help out that pass rush even more.
Traded Tyree Wilson, who they just took in the top 5 a few years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And then they drafted what might be a potential guard in the future in Trey Zune out of Texas A&M. I know he played center at A&M. He's not going to come in and take Linderbaum's job at all, but their guard positions aren't a complete lock. I mean, Jackson Powers Johnson, he's a great player, but Spencer Buford, maybe.
Possibly. I have
And
the
then
Raiders as like my.
the biggest steal, it's not over yet. Them taking the waiver on Jermod McCoy. That's why I had them on my winners list ultimately. I like all the picks that they got, filling out different spots on the roster, strengthening their team. But I like that they were the team to take that high risk, high reward on McCoy because you spent a fourth rounder on it. If the injury is really as bad as teams feared it was and he can never turn into a starter in the NFL, okay, is what it is. Teams miss on fourth round picks all the time. Now, if he's fully recovered from that and he's a freak athlete and he doesn't show any signs of regression from the injury, then you might have just taken one of the future top corners in the league in the fourth round.
Yeah. Now, the only reason I had the Raiders as an honorable mention, I think they had a solid draft. Of course, Mendoza. They also got Mike Washington, the running back from Arkansas,
Yeah.
to pair with Ashton Genty. I felt like some of the picks seemed a little higher than those players were graded, so I'm still a little outside of McCoy. McCoy's a steal, but I want to see how that draft class turns out before I fully feel confident saying that they nailed everything. It's also the other reason I didn't pick the Raiders. It's easy. They got Mendoza. Okay, yeah, of course. Whoever gets Fernando Mendoza is the winner.
No. It was more than just them getting Mendoza.
Well, not for you. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying for most people. Oh, they're the winner. They got Mendoza. Well, yeah, common sense. Anthony, what were you thinking about? How Katron Allen's going to run for $150 on everybody?
Except the
So I'm mad
Eagles.
at. Nah, I wouldn't put. I'm not gonna. Hold on.
Because the big 6'8" Nigerian's going to stuff him in the backfield.
Okay, let's relax with the Jordan Mailata 2.0 stuff. All
All
right.
I will say, I saw a video that I really liked. It was the draft call that Howie made to him. And I loved how the dude seemed like so nervous talking to Howie and Sirianni, but when he got on the phone with Clint Hurt, it was like, Coach. And I was
Hey,
like, Clint Hurt's going to be the future defensive coordinator, 100%. You said it
I've been
before,
telling you
and
this.
I'm just I'm fully on board with it. I'm just like, wow, he probably has only met with that player a handful of times, and like he's already he's been.
Exactly. I've been telling you that for a few months now. Anthony, I'm going to say yes, they would because all right, yes, with Aaron Rodgers being there, yes, but it's a year. You're literally on a year-to-year basis with a 40-year-old quarterback.
Oh, and this is the last year. If he comes back, we still don't know if he's going to come back. But if he
We still
does, this
don't
is
know.
definitely the last year.
I just love the fact that Pittsburgh has Drew Aller and Will Howard on their roster. Got Ohio State, Penn State rematch
Oh,
all
man.
over again for the battle.
Poor Will Howard. He's going to lose his QB2 spot.
All right. Next up on my winners list, I got the Chicago Bears.
They were
Not
in the mix. They had a great draft. We both said it. So many teams had great drafts. It was hard to
not
pinpoint winners.
not the volume of picks like teams like Cleveland and New York had, but
Yeah.
they wanted to upgrade their safety room. Even though that Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker were very good last year, Byard led the league in interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to get younger. They go out, they sign Kobe Bryant in free agency from the Seahawks. Then they draft Dylan Thieneman, which by the way, I'm so happy that draft weekend is over, so I don't have to watch the damn tape of Dylan Thieneman picking off Drew Aller in that game last year. That game burns me because that was the start of the end. But they get him in round one. Then they double dip into the second round. They go get Logan Jones, the center out of Iowa.
I
Drew
like
Dahlman
that.
retired, and Garrett Bradbury may be solid for them, but he's on a 1-year deal. He was okay last year in New England. I wouldn't say he was great,
Yeah,
but
just okay.
he'll be in. Yeah, he'll be a nice fill-in for a year. Logan Jones will probably learn behind him, get some reps here and there, and I think he's going to develop into a very solid center. Then they go and get Sam Roush, the tight end out of Stanford. He was
Yeah.
probably, if I had to pick a number 4 tight end in this class, because I really thought after Eli Stowers and Max Clare, it really dropped down in terms of consistency. He's probably the number 4 tight end in this class. His hands are inconsistent, but he is an excellent blocking tight end, and he fits exactly the kind of offense that Ben Johnson likes to run,
Yeah.
especially with the
For
way they
tight
run the
end too.
football.
Exactly.
Yep. And Colson Loveland ain't a bad blocker. He's a decent blocker. But now you got Roush as the blocking tight end. You got Loveland on the other side. He's also the receiving tight end. I like that. They needed a wide receiver 3, possibly for cheap. Xavier Thomas out of LSU is the quote unquote Ben Johnson type of wide receiver. A little 5'11, 188, can operate out of the slot. He won't take targets away from Roma Dunze or Luther Burden or Colston Loveland. Nice little gadget type weapon that Ben Johnson can work with. But then after that, now they also drafted Keyshawn Elliott and Jordan Vanderberg later, but getting Malik Muhammad, where they got him, the corner out of Texas, not the playmaker that Nashawn Wright was, but a very good press cover corner. Going to add into that cornerback room, with Jalen Johnson,
Yeah.
Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson. Very nice young corner to put into that group and give Dennis Allen another weapon to that secondary. I think the Bears had a terrific draft, and I think their defensive backs, they were great last year. I think they got better now. I am a little still concerned that they did not address the edge rusher because I still think they really need someone that can consistently get after the quarterback.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Not really sold on their edge rushers, but hey, you know what? Let's just lock everything down. Who needs edge rushers when you lock everything down?
pretty much. So yeah, they're my number 4 winner.
Okay, okay. So, I don't even know what number am I on. Let's see. I did the Jets, did the Raiders, went over the Browns, did the Ravens. I'm on my 5. At number 5, this is going to pain me. I have the Dallas Cowboys. Now, again, another team that didn't particularly have a bunch of draft picks, but I feel like every one that they made, they absolutely hit on. Caleb Downs, man, it's a shame that he fell to 11.
He's a top 3 prospect in the draft.
It's only because he's a safety. That's literally it.
Okay, can we stop
I want to
position?
stop that.
Also, can we stop drafting on traits? Oh, this guy's traits are he's going to be a great player. Okay, Arvell Reese has traits to be an elite pass rusher in the NFL. Then why wasn't he an elite pass rusher in college?
Yeah.
David Bailey was. I'm taking David Bailey. Ruben Bain was. I'm taking Ruben Bain.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree 100%. I mean, that was the first steal. They traded up to get him. Then they land Malachi Lawrence, the edge out of UCF. That's just going to bolster the pass rushing room that they are already trying to build up with, Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, Ezeraku. And then they followed it up in the 3rd round and said, all right, taking Barham out of Michigan. I thought that was another good value pick there to add depth to that edge rushing room.
Don't forget, they also got LT Overton out of Alabama.
Yeah, in the 4th.
Who he kind of reminds you of Rashawn Gary with his build.
Yeah. It's gonna hurt you what I'm about to say, Sam. I think the best pick that they got value wise was Drew Shelton out of Penn State in the 4th round.
Why do you do this?
I'm sorry.
Also, Anthony, I think neighbors didn't seem too happy on that. By the way, can we stop with the Micah Parsons draft special? Current players should not be having live reaction shows to their team's picks. That causes way too much controversy. Like that should. Social media is giving current players way too much power in this kind of stuff. Oh no, I agree. I think Dallas had a good draft. I would have had them. They're one of my honorable mentions too. I thought they had a solid draft. I think Malachi Lawrence is a good pick. I don't necessarily know if I love it at 23. I
Yeah,
will
and
say,
again, you never know. You never know when a team's gonna overpay or if they really know what they're gonna get out of a guy, and that's why they take him as high as they do.
also, you have to depend on where teams pick as well.
Yeah,
Like, if you're picking a guy and you're not up for another like 50 picks after that, then sometimes you got to reach for the guy.
yeah. I mean, they didn't have a second round pick, so they kind
Yeah,
of
so
had to.
does either take them then or not get them at all?
Yep.
So I like Dallas's draft. I like that they finally address what they need to. You know, the O line looks really good off of last year's draft. They got a bunch of young players. Half of them are named Tyler, which is hilarious. They got like 3 Tylers on their O line.
Yeah, one of them stinks.
Which one? No, they don't.
Tyler Guyton. I'm not sold on Tyler Guyton.
Guyton, he showed flashes, but he's still. But Tyler Smith and Tyler Booker, those are some players.
Oh yeah, they're great.
My last winner, I don't know how you can put this team as a winner. I don't know how you put defending champions as winners. I went with the Seahawks.
Really. Again, they had a great draft in where they replenished what they've lost, basically.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they lost Kenneth Walker. Zach Charbonnet, I know we keep talking about him, but Zach Charbonnet is not going to be ready for the season.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought this. So.
And also in the city of the team that traded him to Arizona.
Man, are they trying to just make James Conner retire? Is that what they're aiming for here?
But yeah, so back to the Seahawks. You lose Kenneth Walker. Charbonnet won't be ready. They did sign Emmanuel Wilson in the offseason from Green Bay. He's a nice rotational running back. You took Jadarian Price in the first round. He was easily the number 2 running back in this draft, and he was also the number 2 running back in his own school. But like I say, if you go watch the Notre Dame tape, go watch the film, go watch the highlights, go watch their games. When you put him and Jeremiah Love as a runner, I can't tell who's who because they run so identically well. Now, Love's the better prospect. He's the overall better running back. But Jadarian Price is still a very good pick for a team that values playing strong defense and also running the football. So you get that to replace your guy in Kenneth Walker. Okay, let's go to the second round. They lose Kobe Bryant to the Bears. They went out and got probably one of the better playmaking safeties in this draft in Bud Clark. Dylan Thieneman, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, and Caleb Downs are the top 3 safeties in the draft, no doubt. But Bud Clark is a playmaker. He fills that Kobe Bryant role. He's going to sit back there and make plays on the football. Okay, let's go back even more. You lose Tariq Woolen to the Eagles. You go and get Julian Neal out of Arkansas, another guy, 6'2", 6'3", another tall, lengthy corner who you can add and develop behind your guys. It's not like he has to start right away. You have Witherspoon. You have Josh Jobe still. You have Nicky Manwari, who plays all over the damn football field.
Yeah.
And then with their next selection, they went and got Bo Stevens, the guard from Iowa. Iowa's offensive line, man, representing Logan Jones, Bo Stevens, Gennings Dunker. If you could block in the Big Ten, you could block.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. And basically, if you're no lineman at Iowa, you're probably going to get drafted.
Pretty much. And also, if you go down a few picks in between Bo Stevens, they went and got Andre Fuller, a corner out of Toledo. Not high, but a lot of people really like him. Toledo's been developing their defensive backs for the past couple of years, so I think Andre Fuller could be a potential steal, especially in a scheme where they have been developing defensive backs like it's nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went with the defending champs as my number 5 winner.
Okay. My last honorable mention, I got the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
Didn't have a bunch of draft picks, but again, another team I felt added the depth where needed. I mean, going and getting Avion Terrell to pair with AJ Terrell, I'm excited for that. That's going to be menacing to
You couldn't
watch
just
their
say his
defense.
brother.
Now, I got to say, each of them individually, because you're both going to see each of them individually on the field. You might think you're seeing double, but no, that's just another interception you're throwing to them.
How is falling on top of my goalie not goaltender interference? This guy just did a
Maybe he
somersault.
flopped. Did he flop?
My goalie was on his belly trying to make a save on the ice.
So he belly
And,
flopped.
no, he's diving on the ice trying to make a play. He's literally on his stomach, and the dude rolls on top of him. That's not goaltender interference? Okay. Oh, we see where the NHL wants this series to go. Anyway,
But yeah, back to the Falcons. We don't talk about the Flyers on this show.
you don't.
So I mean, their defense is going to be very strong next year. I really, really liked the Zachariah Branch pick in the third round. I think he was probably a talented enough receiver to have gone earlier in the second round, but teams don't know how to use him. They were afraid that they weren't going to know how to use him. But I really like what they're going to do, pairing him with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, getting a weapon to work underneath the field, get the ball to him short, and let him make the play.
Yeah, and they need a definite answer at wide receiver too. I mean, Drake London's there. Darnell Mooney was okay for them, but you got to have another wide receiver that can do some work on the outside or even on the inside, between the numbers, outside the numbers, whatever. You
Yeah.
need another valuable wide receiver, and I think that's a good pick for them.
Well, Darnell Mooney, he's not even there anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, they got Jahan Dotson, Olamide
Oh,
Case. So
oh dear
obviously they
God.
needed to get a playmaker next to Drake London. Drake London is your do it all receiver. He's going to get you like 70, 80 catches a year. But Zachariah Branch, I think he's the one that he's going to rack up the yak.
Rack up the yak. I love it.
Rack up the yak. Got to get that on a t-shirt.
Okay, we fell down 2-0. We come right back and respond. There you go. 2-1 game. Let's go. Right
All
through
right.
the 5-hole.
Time to turn the TV off.
Nope. Anthony, we're going to get to this in a minute. I have 2 honorable mentions. Number 1, I have Tampa Bay. Getting Ruben Bain at 15. This is a top 5 player in the draft, in my opinion. If you want to be generous, I'll say top 10.
Okay.
There's no business should he have been there at 15. Round 2, they really loaded up their defense in this draft as well with some young talent like Ruben Bain. They lose Levante David. They go and draft Josiah Trotter, who had a really big year in Missouri. They needed, for some reason, Tampa thought they needed more wide receiver help, so they went and got Ted Hurst out of Georgia State. And they also drafted Keontae Scott, the defensive back out of Miami. He made some big plays in the college football playoff, and he honestly, that could be another one of those late round Tampa Bay cornerback steals that they tend to do. And I also give them credit. You know why I like about them? They always draft from the state of Florida. You know why? Not because they're good players, because they know how to play in that Florida heat. So when it's 106 out there in the first month and a half of the season, they're like, we'll be fine. Another honorable mention that I had. Did you have any other honorable mentions?
No, my honorable mentions were the Chiefs and the Falcons.
Oh, okay. I have one more. Carolina, man. I thought Carolina had another very solid draft. You get Monroe Freeling, which if it wasn't Mekhi Lemon, that was my pick for the Eagles. I thought Monroe Freeling is going to be a really good player. They got Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech. So now you got Lee Hunter and Derek Brown on your interior with Jalen Phillips coming off the edge.
Mm-hmm.
They get Chris Brazzell out of Tennessee in the third round. They drafted Zakee Wheatley in round 5 out of Penn State, which broke my heart because I really wanted Zakee on the Eagles. But then I remembered that he's probably skinnier than Andrew Makuba. But yeah, Panthers had a solid draft. They're building the trenches, man. I really
Yeah.
like what Carolina
All right.
did. So yeah, those are our winners. Now we go to our losers. Would you like to kick off the losers or would you like me to?
You know what? I'll go ahead and kick off the losers.
Okay. I'm going to start with my I have a couple players that are losers in this draft,
Okay.
so
Might have some choices that might ruffle some feathers. But here we go. My first one is the Los Angeles Rams. Now, not saying they went full bust mode. They didn't. That's not where I'm going with this. I don't like the pick where it was with Ty Simpson. That's basically the main part of this. I feel like they could have traded back and still gotten Ty Simpson later in the first round. Maybe got some more draft capital in a draft where you only had 5 picks through 7 rounds. 5 picks. Do the math. You could have got some 4th rounders if you traded back. And Ty Simpson would have still been there. But aside from that, getting Max Clear, that's a solid pickup in the second round. I did like that. And then, outside of that, third round they got Trost out of Missouri. He might develop into a fine tackle. CJ Daniels out of Miami. Meh. I thought they were going to take a wide receiver higher in the draft, and they didn't take one until the 6th round, and that's what they ended up with. So it looks like they're not going to worry about replacing Devontae Adams till next year, maybe.
I think CJ Daniels actually was their best draft pick of the weekend. Not because I don't like Max Clare. So the Rams are my number one loser, and here's why. Like you said, you could have traded back and got Ty Simpson. I
Mm-hmm.
also could have made more sense of the Ty Simpson pick if you didn't trade the other first rounder for Trent McDuffie. If you still have both first round picks, you want to take a high impactful player, then take Ty Simpson, sure, go right ahead. I don't care. But I just don't think again, you had 5 picks and I don't think you used them well at all.
Yeah.
Now, Anthony does make a good point. Arizona may have attempted to come back and try to have taken.
I do understand that, but I still feel like they could have probably traded back to a point where it would have been safe for Arizona to not want to give up so much to jump to that point. Because we all know Carson Beck was on Arizona's draft board.
Clearly, they overdrafted him.
Exactly. So I don't know that they would have given up that much draft capital for Ty Simpson. I don't envision that. So I feel like a safe range could have been like maybe you trade back to like 24, 25 max. And I still feel like Arizona wouldn't have tried to jump back in to draft him.
I don't even think Ty Simpson was a first round quarterback in this draft anyway. If it was late.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, your
quarterback class as weak as this year's, it was a stretch. And so was Carson Beck.
And then the report comes out that, the Rams and Stafford are looking to get a deal done beyond next year. So what, are we going to do the Jordan Love thing, have him sit for 3 years? Like, you could have had a guy like Mekhi Lemon, and you could have had a wide receiver duo for the next 10-plus years. Because Devontae Adams is going to be there forever.
Yeah. No, I'm glad that we don't have to watch Puka Nacua and Mekhi Lemon now.
Oh, my God.
That would have just given me nightmares.
And not even that. I don't mind Max Clare. He was my number 3 tight end in the draft. Where's he playing? They've already got Tyler Higbee, Parkinson, Ferguson, who they just drafted.
Is the odd man out.
No, he's not. Tyler Higbee. He's the longest tenured tight end on the team.
He is, but that's the thing. How long do you expect the tight end to play in this league, Sam?
He got two others
Well,
last
yeah, I
year.
get that. But just look at it. Tyler Higbee's definitely on his way out. I mean,
Okay.
he's been battling injuries. 2024, he played 3 games. Last year, he played 10.
Okay.
Clearly, he's not reliable for them anymore.
No, the other two are, though.
Yeah, the other two are. They're great. Colby Parkinson emerged last year. Amazing. Terrence Ferguson, he was very efficient for them. Like 11 catches for 231 yards. He wasn't your every down guy, but he could make plays for you.
So where's Max Clare playing?
Honestly,
They did
I think
not
he
get
takes
any.
I think he takes Terrence Ferguson snaps, a lot of them.
No, he does. No, he doesn't. They have drafted their first two draft picks, and they use them on players that will barely affect this team in 2026. A team that has Super Bowl aspirations, and we can agree here, right? They have zero weaknesses on their team right now.
Pretty
Can we
close
agree
to
that
it.
there's not a weakness on that team? So they could have just took the best thing available, and they chose a quarterback. And honestly, a quarterback who I honestly think talent wise, maybe the third or fourth best quarterback in the draft because I still think Drew Aller is more talented than Ty Simpson. You can
Yeah,
hold me you can hold me by my ankles off a cliff on that. I will die on that hill that Drew Aller is a more talented quarterback than Ty Simpson. The only reason that Drew Aller didn't get drafted higher, his coaching sucked at Penn State. And if you still don't believe me, go listen to Terry Smith today saying the same thing. And Terry Smith's on the Penn State coaching staff for the past 10 years. He's watched it. I just don't like the picks. And again, when you have only 5 draft picks and our favorite one was in the 6th round, and you have a team like that of
your favorite
Super
one
Bowl
was in the sixth
aspirations,
round.
that's a problem. And I like CJ Daniels. I think he could develop into a wide receiver 3 for them. He made plays for Miami in the playoff. He was really good.
He was
I just okay. Okay, we'll get Malachi Tony wouldn't have had the opportunities that he had if it weren't for CJ Daniels.
So are we going the same route as what people said about Jacoby Lane and Makai Lemon? Then is that where you're going with this?
No, but I'm saying he complimented him. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. That's
I'm
not
not
what
saying
you
he's
said
better.
earlier. You didn't
No,
say
I
that.
didn't.
You said that C.J. Daniels was the reason why.
Okay, so all right, so take CJ Daniels off. Malachi Tony's just going to blow past 5 DBs, right? Is that what we're saying?
I mean, maybe he's fast.
Because for another guy to operate, you need another guy to have to draw some protection. Last time I checked.
My night is complete. I've successfully ignited Sam.
No, because you try to act like you try to twist my words into stuff I didn't say.
Well, no, you didn't mean it, but you definitely said it. And then I
I
remembered
literally
what you
said,
said earlier about Jacoby Lane and Makai Lemon. But
okay,
I get what you mean
but
now.
even then, I think Jacoby Lane had a big reason why Makai Lemon had the year that he had. But to have a big year, you need to have somebody on the opposite side of you to be able to do something. You can't just have one wide receiver and say, "Oh, all is good." Now, unless you're AJ Brown in his own head, that's how he thinks it works. But it's not.
All right. I'll let you have this one because you did say wide receiver 3. It's not like you said he's going to be like their future wide
I
receiver.
said for the Rams,
No, I
not
know.
for the freaking.
No, I
That's
didn't.
what I'm saying for the Rams.
I've overignited you, Sam.
If you stick him,
I've overignited you.
but the
Yes, on the
point is,
Rams, number
but the
3.
point is that we are talking. And first of all, people, don't tell me. I know they're trying to backtrack, and do not tell me Sean McVay is happy with the Ty Simpson pick.
No,
You
not at all.
cannot tell me he liked that pick. He didn't even want to talk to him.
He's just saving face at this point
Yes.
because he didn't realize how obvious he made it that he was so uninterested in that pick and not happy at all about it.
The overly nutcase head coach that is energized for every situation, and he's sitting there like this.
Yeah. Don't tell me he was tired.
They're not. They were on West Coast time.
Exactly.
They were 3 hours behind us.
The sun was
But
still
no,
up.
exactly. Not in that draft room, it wasn't. But no, my biggest point here is that the fact that most impactful player on this draft class could be CJ Daniels when they took him so late. That's the problem I'm having.
Yeah,
Simpson's going to sit for 2 to 3 years at most. And again, I like Max Clare as a player. I wish he had a better path to playing time, but again, Tyler Higbee's the veteran. He's been on the team the longest. Parkinson had a really good year. Ferguson's going to get more snaps this year, probably over Higbee. But this is just embarrassing. A team that is so loaded on each side of the football, and they waste a premier pick that could have put them over the top. You're still in a division where you're competing with the reigning champs and the
yeah,
49ers, even though they may or may not be on our losers list. But I just don't know what the Rams were thinking. I really don't.
yeah. No, there's no real rhyme or reason to it. It doesn't make much sense.
All right, let's move on to another loser. You want to go or you want me to go? Because you
I'll let
kind
you
of,
go. I've ignited you enough. You can go.
I think we both kind of have them as the number one loser in this draft. So,
What are we segueing into San Fran?
no, actually, I have a couple players that are losers. I couldn't find 5 teams that lost this draft, but I could find some players
Okay.
that did. My number 5 loser, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go down to my bottom. The Rams are number 1 without a doubt. Number 5, I'm going Dylan Gabriel because the Browns
Ooh,
took Taylor Green in round 6.
man.
And as inconsistent of a passer that he is a freak athlete. And, we were talking about the Browns earlier. They're going to have Shador. They're going to have Deshaun Watson back. And I still don't think Dylan Gabriel was really worth the pick they used on him last year.
Nope.
He is an unathletic left-handed quarterback who's going to complete passes 10 yards over the middle, and that's about it. He doesn't have a great arm. Taylor Green,
He was the petty pick last year.
he was. Taylor Green has a cannon. He's just very inaccurate. Every ball is 100 miles an hour. He doesn't know how to just drop the ball into the tight windows. He has to be more of a game-managing passer at some points. But I'm going to say that I think Dylan Gabriel is a big loser because he's probably either going to get traded or he's going to get released in training camp.
I don't think a team's trading for him. So they'll probably wait until he gets released and then sign him.
Yeah, but either way, he's a loser in Cleveland.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And honestly, I don't want this to come off rude. He's been a loser since last year. And I'm not trying to say that in a negative way towards him, but the situation the Browns put him in.
Yes.
They knew Shador Sanders was better. And they took him, 2 rounds after? Because the whole NFL was just trying to go on their we hate we hate the Sanders tour. When in reality, that was their pick. They should have just taken him, not wasted another pick on Dylan Gabriel.
It feels like they should. It feels like the NFL was trying to treat the Sanders, due to the Sanders, what they wish the NBA did with the Ball family.
You know what? When you put it like that, I hate
because I will say something. Give LeVar. You know what? I think the one thing I always defended LeVar Ball on was there's nothing wrong with a father just wanting his sons to be the absolute best at something. There's nothing wrong with it. That is great parenting. However, when you were going on First Take, which, by the way, ESPN giving people like this platforms, that's their problem. But going on there and saying that your son would win more championships on that current Warriors team more than Steph Curry is outlandish. Better than putting him in the conversation with Magic before he even steps on a court in the NBA. Now, don't get me wrong. Lonzo was drafted number 2. LaMelo was drafted in the top 10. Then, Lonzo, for the beginning, was having a solid career. Injuries have derailed him. LaMelo is the best out of the 3. He's a very good player. A little questionable with some things he does on the court in playing games, but we'll save that for another day. LiAngelo was not only not great at basketball, but a moron, but now he's a rapper and he's successful at it.
Well, actually, I heard he may get another chance to work out for some NBA teams.
I see. I think he's a better rapper than a basketball player, so I would just.
There's no debate about that, but I'm just saying he's probably going to get another shot at his NBA dream.
Yeah, so I mean, there's nothing wrong, but this is the thing. Look at all the talking LeVar did and where it got his sons drafted. And I think the NFL was like, I'm not going to have someone. Now it's a little different because Deion's an NFL Hall of Famer, but
Yeah.
it felt like they were trying to avoid something of that nature. And they were trying to
Yeah.
make an example at it. That's what it came across to me. And if people disagree with me, I'm sorry, but I'm sticking to my opinion. Because I know we even said we didn't have Shador as a first round quarterback. He should have been drafted a lot higher than where he was.
Should have been the second round.
Second, third round, yes. But everything after that was ridiculous.
Yep.
After a point, it was getting ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Dylan Gabriel is one of my losers because he's clearly going to be the odd man out in Cleveland for a quarterback spot, which again, maybe not his fault. But
No, it's not his fault. He
unfortunately,
was put into that situation.
exactly. So, but yeah, he's one of my losers.
All right. So
So,
before we talk about Mr. George's favorite team, I want to
oh
bring
boy,
up another team that I have as a loser of mine.
okay,
And I need to say sorry to Anthony. I have the Washington Commanders on my list.
okay, I'm
I,
gonna have
I,
to hear this
I,
one.
I love the pick Sonny Styles, obviously. It's going to be their commanding field general for years to come.
Gets to learn from Bobby Wagner.
Yeah.
Then he gets to play next to the scumbag known as Frankie Louvo.
Hopefully he doesn't learn those traits.
Oh dear
Let's
God.
hope not.
No, hope you know what I hope happens? I hope like when he talks to Frankie, I hope Bobby comes over and says, whatever he just said, ignore it.
But
He'll
I
get you
feel
suspended in 3
like
weeks.
they didn't really get as much value out of the rest of their draft. I mean,
Okay.
Antonio Williams, I'm not sold on him being the wide receiver two full time. Maybe he can develop into it, but right away, I don't see a shot that he's going to give you that wide receiver two production next to McLaurin. I feel like there were some other receivers on the board when they did take him in the third round as well that may have been better talents, at least starting out. So I don't know, maybe they saw something with the potential there. And then, I mean, again, this also isn't all Washington's fault. They picked at 7, then they didn't pick again until the third round. Then they had a 5th, 2, 6, and a 7th round pick. So they didn't have a bunch of premium draft picks.
Which is why I'm disagreeing with you on this, actually.
Hey, you can agree to disagree. Like I said, it was hard to find losers. They're not a big loser by any means. Not at all. I had to find some teams here to kind of stretch it and make it work. The only two real losers I have were the 49ers and
The Rams.
the Rams, yes.
All right. So the reason I'm going to disagree with this, Anthony, I love the confidence. It's going to take me a lot to compare Sonny Styles to Fred Warner.
Let Sonny Styles be his own next big thing.
But no, I like the Sonny Styles pick, and like I get
I do.
I would have felt better about the Antonio Williams pick if they still kept Cliff Kingsbury, but they decided to scapegoat him after their quarterback got injured because Dan Quinn doesn't really care about what the
Mhm.
score is. He'll keep his quarterback in there and get his head taken off of it if he likes to. The reason I can't have them as a loser is they have 2 picks in the 5th and 6th round. Joshua Joseph is a good edge rusher. He should have went a lot higher than round 5. I had a 3rd round grade on him. They stole him in round 5. Oh, and I could tell you who the 6th round steal was.
Oh, I know. K-Tron.
The all-time leading rusher in Penn State history. That's who it is. That is a damn good pick. And Anthony, you got a good player, and I'm pissed that you got him. My next loser. I'm going to go my last player. Then we'll hop into the other two, to the other are one agreement loser, and I have another team who's a big loser as well. My other
I got
player
another
who's a loser is Josh Allen. Why can we not just draft him a pass catcher in the first 2 rounds? Why must we trade back when Omar Cooper's standing right there? And people keep saying, oh, well, DJ Moore's going to play the outside. Okay, so who's operating? Oh, Shakir? Okay, I'd rather have Omar Cooper.
Yeah. Well, here's what you got to look at with the Bills. They've shown us for years now they are not going to prioritize top wide receiver. Their prioritization of that was them trading for DJ Moore. So they're telling everybody, shut up, be happy. And I mean, when you look at it, their offense was still great last year. Their defense just couldn't hang around in games unless if Josh Allen just kept bailing them out.
And that's still going to be the case.
So yeah, that is. But somehow, and I've criticized their wide receiving core for years, somehow, with what they have, they still make it work. And they added DJ Moore to it. So
Well,
while, yes,
having a top 5 running back in football helps.
it does. So now, while, yes, it would have been nice to see them take a first or second round wide receiver, I still think it's a solid pick they got with Skylar Bell. Don't know exactly where he's going to pan out to that roster. Maybe wide receiver 3.
I think Skylar Bell will actually eventually be their starting slot receiver. Shakir is very well at working inside those intermediate routes, inside the numbers. He's very good at it. Skylar Bell, the reason he will mostly be a slot receiver is because of his size. He is a faster, more elusive playmaking version of Khalil Shakir. And the only reason I know so much, I mean, he was an All American. The only reason I know so much about Skylar Bell is because Penn State hired UConn's wide receiver coach a few months ago, because we got Noah Pauly, who was supposed to be the rising star in college football. And then unfortunately, the Green Bay freaking Packers realized this. So as soon as Noah Pauly signed, the ink dries at Penn State, now he's heading to the NFL to be the Packers head wide receiver coach. Thanks, Green Bay. But Skylar Bell, the wide receiver coach at UConn, did a lot of good work with him, and Penn State hired him. So I went and looked at Skylar Bell, and he's a good player. I think it's a steal. I think he could be a steal in this draft. It's just, it's not even about DJ Moore. You're still going to be starting Keon Coleman on the other side. Who else?
I
If
mean,
it's
they
not DJ
did
Moore.
bring in Mecole Hardman.
Oh, dear God. That's even. All right, never mind. I'm sorry. Tell Keon Coleman I'm sorry. Oh, my God.
Oh, man. I mean, they also have Joshua Palmer. And
Okay.
you have to think about this in terms of the lack of development that Keon Coleman has shown and his immaturity off the field. So a Joshua Palmer honestly isn't the worst option when considering that. But either way, the Bills, they're still going to find out how to move the football in the offense because Josh Allen, James Cook, hopefully, Kincaid has a healthy year. And they got him and Dawson Knox playing next to each other. Run those 2 tight end sets. Sam, if they're running 2 tight end sets, they don't even need Keon Coleman on the field. Throw out DJ Moore and Shakir and call it a day. They tied
Travis
it up, didn't
Stanheim, and we are tied.
they? Nice.
Figures he's the one Flyer player I can't stand, but he's had a great series against Pittsburgh. But yeah, so I have Josh Allen as my loser. I just wish I wonder. It makes you wonder: is there just an issue with these top-notch wideouts in Buffalo because of what happened with Stephon Diggs? Could they be trying to avoid that drama? Which I don't blame them.
Maybe.
So Josh Allen is one of my losers in this draft, but I do like the Skylar Bell pick. I think it's a good pick.
Like I said, they're still going to make it work.
All right, so I think we're going to go to. We both have one other big team loser. I think I have one that you don't.
We could. I got 2 more losers aside from the 49ers, but let's talk about the 49ers.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing.
San Francisco.
I don't know what they were doing.
Strivling, may develop into a fine wide receiver. Was he first pick of the second round worthy? No,
Yeah, no.
he was not. I'm sorry, George. We tried to talk you into it initially when you popped in on the show. Like I said again, could develop into a fine wide receiver. He was very solid at Ole Miss, one of their top pass catchers. Where they picked him at, no justification for it.
Yeah, and I want to apologize to all the fans. I had a complete brain checkout moment when they made that pick because I completely forgot that they signed Mike Evans in free agency.
Oh, you forgot about that?
I completely forgot because I was talking about him
Oh
complimenting
man.
Pearsall, and I'm like, wait, why am I feel like I'm forgetting something here? And I'm like, oh yeah, maybe because they signed Mike Evans. Nice going, genius. So, yeah, I don't like it. Romello Height, I liked Romello Height for a team like the Eagles. I don't think he fits what San Fran wants in a defensive lineman. You know who I thought fit San Fran's scheme perfectly? Denied Dennis Sutton because of his ability to play against the run so well and is just such a disruptor on any play. I thought he made a lot more sense for San Fran. Romello Height, I don't know if he's ever going to develop into something more than a situational pass rusher. Now, I mean he may be able to turn into that there, but because Bose is going to play every down, Michael Williams is going to play a lot, and maybe they're trying to get that third down pass rush unit. I mean, they did trade for Osa Adigizua,
Yeah.
and Romello Height, maybe he can turn into that. I don't know, but
I
I
think
don't
defensively,
understand that.
it's good depth that they added. Obviously, you're not really looking to add depth. Well, I mean, it was a third round pick. We got to look at it at that too.
Yes, but when you trade it out of the first round,
Yeah. I mean that's really where the worst of it comes. You traded out of the first round just to take a player who honestly, Stribling may have been available where they picked it number at the third round. It's totally possible. Unless if another team was going to overdraft him. Because I honestly kind of had him around third round. Agreed. Oh man.
yeah. And I don't. And again, when you're a team and you're in the same division as the Rams and as the reigning champs, even Arizona got one of the top 3 prospects in the draft, and you're in that division, and I don't know if you got a contributing day one player
Mm-hmm.
at all. Yeah, I don't know what San Fran was doing here.
Yeah. And then how about
Okay.
their other third round pick being another running back?
I mean, that's actually not the worst idea because of the durability issues that McCaffrey's had in his career.
That is true, but I mean, just had the healthiest year of his career. Don't forget, last year they took Jordan James from Oregon, and they still have Isaac Grendo, who, when he stepped in a couple of years ago with all the running back injuries, he was pretty serviceable. So it's kind of like, why did you spend a third round pick on another running back? They could have addressed something like that later on in the draft when their
Yeah,
picks
I
were
agree.
already kind of at a premium. I mean, they had what about 8 picks, 8 or 9 picks.
They made 8 or 9 picks, and I don't know if any of them are going to contribute at all.
But I will say though, they are a team that didn't have too many holes. They kind of needed to use this draft to get better for the future rather than get better now.
Tyler, this team has put an average of 8 players on IR at some point in every year for the
So
past 2.
exactly, so draft depth. They didn't need to draft starters this year.
I'm not a. I just
I'm
don't like
trying
it.
to be positive for them, but yeah, they're one of my
Um,
biggest losers.
I'm just not. I'm not feeling what the Niners did. I'm really not. And then I'm going to move on to my last loser. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't
Oh, we do
know.
have another one in common then. I
It's
also
just
had the Jaguars.
you lose Devin Lloyd. You don't add an off-ball linebacker until the last pick you have.
Yeah.
You lose Travis Etienne. You don't take a running back at some point in this draft.
Yeah.
Their first draft pick they used because they didn't have a first round pick because they used it to get Travis
Travis
Hunter.
Hunter. Hmm.
You spent it on a 25-year-old 6-year tight end
Oh, dude, I did not like that pick at all.
that I don't like anything. They drafted 2 wide receivers when they don't need wide receivers. They got like 4 of them.
Yeah.
I
I
just
think
I
their
don't.
best pick was taking Pregnon in the third round, and that was it. Because he's a
Yeah,
guy who had a lot of like first round, maybe early second round grades, and he fell that far into the third. So I think that from a value aspect, I don't know if he's going to pan out the best because there's clearly something that teams did not like about him.
there are just guys that fall because teams draft guys based on traits. Which, once again, I say drafting guys on traits is the dumbest thing ever. If Pittsburgh runs into my goaltender one more time, I'm gonna knock someone out. We're storming the ice because they have ran into Dan Vladar like 6 times tonight.
Whoa.
So
But yeah, Jacksonville, I mean, what are they going to do for running back? Their best running back is Bayshol Tutin.
yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what. I mean, I think they signed Rodriguez away from the Commanders.
They did sign, but even him, he's not going to make a big change. Yeah, he's serviceable, but he's more like have him in a rotation with somebody. Do they want to trade back for Tank? I'll take a third.
You take a third.
Yep. We'll upcharge him.
The upcharge. Yeah, I don't. I don't know what Jacksonville was doing. I don't think they got better at all. I think they've actually gotten worse this entire offseason.
Okay.
I'm excited. When we do our division previews later on in the summer, that's going to be a very big topic. But
Now, I have one more team.
honorable
And they're
mention?
not kind of an honorable mention because they're not really, in a sense, a loser, but in terms of what they got through the draft, you could assess them as a loser. That's the Denver Broncos. Now, obviously, a team that didn't have as many premium picks because they traded them away to gain better assets, in my opinion.
Yeah, they
Like,
got Jalen Waddle.
yeah. So I can't hold that against them in a say, but when you are talking about winners and losers of the draft, well, technically, they used a pick in that trade, so they couldn't make the pick. So, just trying to put together a list here. But third round, they got Tyler Onyedin, another tackle out of Texas A&M, which I felt like they had like 10 million of them. So I'm just losing track on like who's like the tier list here for the Texas A&M D lineman. That's a solid pick. Got Jonah Coleman out of Washington in the fourth round. It's okay.
I actually like that. I think he's a solid compliment to RJ Harvey. Also, again, I know they re-signed J.K. Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins hasn't been healthy in like 5 years. So
Unreliable.
at least now, if something is to happen with him, you have a guy behind Harvey that you trust. I actually think Jonah Coleman is actually a very solid pick. And I think Justin Jolly, the tight end from NC State, could be a
I
solid
was gonna
pickup.
say I do like that one too. That has a lot of potential for him to carve out a nice role there behind Evan Ingram.
So,
But not
yeah,
true
no.
losers, but I had to reach a little bit to try to.
Hey, I found more contributors in their draft class than Jacksonville's. I'll tell you that much.
Oh my
Anthony,
soul.
yeah, good lord. And Anthony, here's the thing: why? Why would they trade Brian Thomas?
That would just make your team worse.
I know they have Jacoby Myers. I know they have Parker Washington. What are we? I'm sorry. Did anyone get wowed by Travis Hunter at all last year before he got hurt? Because I didn't.
Nope. He honestly was contributing more on defense, I think.
I still don't know how good of an NFL player Travis Hunter is. We still don't know that.
We still don't know if he's going to be a better corner or wide receiver. We're still trying to figure that one out.
Pretty much. All right, Tyler, you want to get to our top 5 value picks of the entire draft?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so do we want to go from 1 to 5 or from 5 to 1?
Whoa, with let's go with 5 to 1.
Okay. I'll kick us off here. I got a good one here. My number 5 in this draft was the Miami Dolphins taking Chris Bell in round 3, Louisville wide receiver. Like I said, he doesn't tear his ACL. He's a first round pick. He was one of my top 5 most. I had him right behind Tyson and Cooper and Lemon and Tate for talent wise in terms of wide receiver. It's just the ACL tear. Now he is ahead of schedule. He's running well already. So I think Miami, if he's healthy and that he gets past that ACL tear, I think he's a wide receiver 1, and Miami may have stolen him in round 3. So that's my number 5 value pick.
Okay. My number 5 value pick, I got it. I had to include Caleb Downs. I
Okay.
mean, yes, you could say it's the easy pick, but it's a great value. He should have went in the first 3 picks. That's how talented he is. But because of the position that he plays, teams allowed him to fall all the way down to 11, which I think is an absolute steal.
So some GMs that should be fired for that.
Oh yeah. Oh, they'll be finding out the hard way.
All right. Coming in at number 4 for me, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, they are one of my losers, but one of their picks, they did get Emmanuel Pregnon in round 3. I had him as a late first round, early second round pick. I was kind of hoping the Eagles took him at 54. Not upset they took Eli Stowers at all. Also had some mocks taking the Eagles taking him at 23 earlier in the draft process, but for some reason he fell to round 3. He was my number 2 interior offensive lineman in this draft behind Vega Owane.
Yeah.
And he possesses a lot of physical traits just like Owane. I think Owane's base is just a little bit more consistent than Pregnon's. He does tend to get pushed back a little bit, but in round 3, that is a steal for Jacksonville. It is a late day 1, early day 2 pick that they got late day 2 in the 3rd round. And I think he'll be a starter in Jacksonville by the time midseason comes. So that's my number 4.
Okay. My number 4, you're going to be no surprise again. Mekhi Lemon to the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, he was my favorite wide receiver in this draft class. I thought he was the most talented one. A lot of people viewed him as the number 2 best wide receiver. The fact that he made it all the way down to pick number 20 is absolutely ridiculous. And everything that Howie gave up to trade up to get him will be worth it. Eagles fans, mark my words. He is the type of player that could change the course of a game.
Don't hate it. I don't have any first round picks in my value picks, but again, it's not because they weren't there. I like that idea. I think he should never have got past the top 15. He should never got past the Rams at 15. All right, my number 3, I have Avion Terrell in round 2 to the Atlanta Falcons. This was my number 2 corner on my board. Easily should have been a mid to late first round pick. He goes to Atlanta in the 2nd round, they've done nothing but improve their defense over the past 2 off seasons. And now, not only does he get to go to Atlanta, he gets to go play opposite of his brother.
Yep.
So I have Avion Terrell as my number 3 value pick, going to the Falcons in round 2.
All right. Well, hey, I'm going to keep it in Atlanta. My number 3 is Zachariah Branch. I said it earlier when we were talking about the Falcons. I think that was an absolute steal because teams were afraid that they weren't going to know how to use him right. I mean, he's a 5'8 receiver, 177. So he's a very niche kind of guy, but I think his big play ability and he does his best work after the catch, getting the ball in short yardage situations. He's going to be a special player for the Falcons. And I had him honestly going early to mid second round, and the fact that he fell to the third round, 79th overall pick, I think that was an absolute steal and a no brainer for the Falcons.
Don't disagree. All right. Number 2 for me, I have the Cleveland Browns getting Emmanuel McNeil-Warren in the second round.
Ooh, honorable mention.
Honorable mention. This is a top 3 safety, an easy first round pick going in round 2. I mean, he's one of the big reasons why the Browns are the draft day winners because they only got not only did they get Denzel Boston, Casey Concepcion, and Spencer Fano, they get the freaking third best safety in the draft, arguably the second in round 2. He should have went earlier.
You'll see where I'm
So,
going with this in a moment. You'll see. You'll see. I don't
so yeah,
disagree. Definitely a steal. Player I would have loved if the Eagles took a look at as well, but we saw where they were eyeing before that with the Stowers pick. But my number 2 steal of the draft, Anthony Hill Jr. going to the Titans in the second round, 60th overall. I think that Robert Sala is going to turn this kid into a absolute star. I think he fell way too far in this draft. I had him as a very early round 2 draft pick, and then I just proceeded to see a handful of other off-ball linebackers drafted ahead of him.
the traits, man. It's the
The
traits.
traits, the traits. I mean, this guy, he can get all across the field. He can make plays, force fumbles, interceptions, playing coverage, tackling machine. I mean, what else do you want him to do?
I
And
don't
Robert
disagree.
Sala, this could be. Now, I know we didn't like the Sonny Styles plays like Fred Warner earlier, but Robert Sala could turn this guy into something like a Fred Warner.
There's also a difference. Robert Saleh's coached Fred Warner.
Exactly. So there's a better shot of this happening.
Okay. And my number 1 value pick of the 2026 NFL draft, I have a feeling this may be the same. I have the Las Vegas Raiders taking
Oh yeah,
Jermod McCoy in the fourth round. This is a first
first
round
pick
talent and
of
a
the fourth.
the number 2 corner in the draft if he doesn't tear his ACL last year. Now, there is a concern with the bone plug in his knee that has nothing to do
Yeah.
with the ACL tear that teams are concerned about. However, when you spent a fourth round pick on a guy that should have went top 15,
Yep. Absolute steal.
you're
No
getting a
brainer.
steal. If
Hands
he
down.
gets yes, and if he gets healthy, he's going to be a shutdown corner.
Yep. It's
So
a
that's
it's
my
a
number 1.
I'm right there with you. No disagreement there. I said it earlier when we were talking about the Raiders. A fourth round pick is nothing to spare risk wise. You're
No,
either getting a future shutdown corner one in this league, or if he doesn't pan out, the injuries are just too much and he can't be healthy enough to play NFL football. All right, it's a fourth round pick. Wipe your hands, move on with it. Not the end of the world.
also, the other reason why I don't mind this pick being where it was, the reason this draft was a very strange draft, not only was it not one of the strongest drafts, you got to remember there's a lot of kids now that would be picked from rounds 4 on that are choosing to stay in college because they're probably going to make more money in NIL than they would in the NFL as
Yeah.
a late round pick.
And then they might end up getting drafted even higher based off of how they play
Exactly.
this year.
That's what a lot of teams were saying this year with rounds 5 through 7. They were mostly drafting guys that they thought they could get as undrafted free agents because of NIL. They think that a lot of these late round potential picks are staying in school because they're going to make more money in NIL money than they will in the NFL. So,
Yeah, that NIL money's a lot more lucrative than a seventh round contract, I'm sure.
yeah, it's Diego Pavia that.
What, you mean undrafted Diego Pave who's going to go play in the Canadian Football League? I heard that
I mean, he
there's a
did.
lot of Canadian Football League teams that are high on him.
I mean, he did get an invite to the Ravens rookie minicamp, so we'll have to wait and see how that looks.
Meh.
pretty much. Now, Tyler, we did have a little bit of NFL news that's undraft related last week. Cowboys announced that George Pickens has signed his franchise tag. However, according to Stephen Jones, he's going to be playing on the franchise tag. There is no long term deal in sight. Are you against or for the Cowboys having George Pickens play on the franchise tag in 2026?
George Pickens is such a unique, polarizing player
Oh, he's unique, all right.
because you never know what you're going to get from him. You can either get last year 93 catches, 1,400 yards, or you can get some of the Pittsburgh years. 63 catches, 1,100 yards, or 59 catches, 900 yards. There isn't enough consistency to give him a long term deal for what he's probably looking for if you're the Cowboys. Because he's probably looking to get not the highest contract, but definitely tight wide receiver one money on his deal. He's not looking for wide receiver two money. I don't think he's taking a team friendly T. Higgins deal, even though T. Higgins' deal was far from team friendly. But in terms of, all the other guys they had to worry about with Jamar Chase and such, it was friendly enough. So for the Cowboys, you get to run it back with him for another year next to CD. I don't think Pickens is going to be their long term guy because you're just not going to be able to keep that on the payroll. They're going to have to find something else to match up with CD Lamb, but at least keeping him on the franchise tag for this year, it gives you another shot. It gives the Cowboys fans more hope that this year is the year that they'll at least make it out of
Yeah.
the first round.
Yeah, and again, the other thing with George Pickens, there is the maturity issues. There were the issues that he caused in Pittsburgh. Now, I understand what you're saying about with his play on the field, comparing Dallas to Pittsburgh. Let's be real. He had no quarterback play in Pittsburgh. When you put him
Yeah.
with a above average quarterback, which Dak is clearly that. I'm not going to call him elite. I'm not even going near that because I'm not feeding egos here. Dak is a very good quarterback. He's not top 5. He's a very good top 15 quarterback. And you see what George Pickens can do with that. He can be a top tier wide receiver. Sometimes he was better last year than CD Lamb was. CD was
He
banged up a little
also,
bit.
I will say, he also got the ball thrown to him the most of his career. So it's not just like he pulled the numbers with limited targets. Like he got the
Yeah.
targets and the catches to get the numbers. So who's to say? What if he kind of goes back to his ways of his on-field antics and he's not giving 100%? What if you're the Cowboys? You give him the contract, right? Let's say he's making like I don't know, what do receivers make? What's the high end?
I think a good number to start with for Pickens would be about 27 million.
27. Let's just say he wants 30, because I'm looking at
Maybe.
it from a standpoint of he's negotiating for other teams to
Yeah.
maybe be a wide receiver one. So let's say he wants 30 million. Let's say the Cowboys, they have to settle. Maybe they give him 27, 28 a year for like 2 to 3 years. What happens if first year in that contract, he's out there putting in like half the work and he ends the season with like, let's say 60 catches, 1,050 yards. And that's not worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because that contract's going to be based off of, can you get me 1,400 yards a season? Or at the very least, over 1,250 a season.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If they are going to pay him, they are basing it all off of this past year. I think some of it has to do with Dallas being a little concerned with, is there some maturity issues? There has
Yeah.
been issues with him in the past. However, I think I will say something. Dallas, and I hate saying this, they've actually gotten better with some of this stuff. The Micah Parsons situation, they traded him because they don't want to pay him. And honestly, their defense may be better without him. He is a very good edge rusher who is awful against the run. And that's why they had to convert him from off-ball linebacker to pass rusher because he couldn't stop the run. And now I think their defense may be stronger as a unit without him.
Yeah, I
And
think overall what they put together, they're better off.
because what have we always said about Dallas? They like to be in the spotlight. They like to be the popularity contest of
Mm-hmm.
the world. They are making those tough decisions. And I think not paying George Pickens off of one really good year is smart. So
Oh yeah,
this is I think there's one of two ways of this. They are not going to pay him at all, and he's going to play under the tag. And then, if he performs again, then I think they'll pay him. That's where I think they may lead us. I think they're going to pay him if he puts together at least another 1,200-yard season.
oh yeah. I think
So
that's where it's got to be. He's got to produce at least 1,200 again for them this year.
because the thing is with Pickens, he's a down the field threat, and they have a quarterback who can get the football to him down the field.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at his years in Pittsburgh, 801 yards his rookie year. Year two broke out, 1,140. Next year, 900. Then the issues internally happened in Pittsburgh. But this past year, man, my God, 1,429 yards on 93 receptions,
yeah,
which blew away his career high of 63. That is 30 more receptions than his
yeah,
career high. His targets were up by over 30 as a career high. Yards per catch, career high. No, actually, no, it's not. Yards per catch is 18 back in 23, 24, so I'm wrong.
yeah.
But
That's what I
still,
was gonna say. He was more efficient back in that 2023 season.
the volume was lower. That's the other point of it. The
Yeah,
volume was lower. But he still averaged over 15 yards this past year. He blew his career high out in yards average a game to 84.1. I think he's worthy of the money if he can do it again, because I think this is what the Steelers thought they were getting out of George Pickens. But their
yeah,
quarterback play has been so inconsistent since Roethlisberger retired. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers was good last year, but George Pickens wasn't there last year.
mm-hmm.
So I really do think this is Dallas maybe saying, let's see how year two goes, because, you've had some maturity issues in the past. But if you come back in again, locked in, you put up another 12 to 1,400-yard season, we'll pay you easily. I
Yeah.
think Pickens is actually a better fit for their offense than CeeDee Lamb is.
Mm.
Because
No,
him and
I
Dak,
feel like it's. I feel like they're complementing each other well because I don't feel like if Pickens was the wide receiver one on this team and CeeDee Lamb was not on the team, I do not think we see 1,400 yards last
I'm
year.
not saying that. I'm just saying I think Pickens was a very, in a first-year system with Schottenheimer, everybody produced. Lamb had over 1,000 again.
Yeah,
Ferguson had a big year. Look what a healthy Javonte Williams gave them.
that was
And
actually a down
remember,
year for Lamb.
yeah, right. And that's the thing. We all laughed at the Schottenheimer hire. Yeah, say that 5 times fast.
Schottenheimer.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, I'm looking for me a pot of gold. I mean, Schottenheimer high I can't. But my point, we all laughed at it, and look what he did. Dak had an efficient year. Lamb's down year would be a great year for most wide receivers.
Yeah,
Ferguson had a good year. Pickens and Javonte Williams had career years. The offensive line looked better, and we laughed at it. And now they hire Christian Parker to be their DC, which is such a great hire, and I hate to say it. They've loaded up the defense with good, solid veterans and young talent. And I think personally that, like I said, I know a lot of people want to cite that Pickens has the maturity issues. I just think this is Dallas saying, look, franchise tag's going to pay you decently this year. Let's just go into this year. Let's see how you perform. And if you put up another 12 to 1,400 yards efficiently, we'll pay you. Because I will say that with Dallas, they usually do reward their guys who perform.
they do.
Sometimes they actually did it before. Sometimes they did it too much.
Demarcus Lawrence.
Lawrence performed. Lawrence was always hurt.
The first year after he got that deal, he was pretty healthy and pretty unproductive. And then he started getting hurt a bunch.
When did he get that big deal?
Hold on. Let me see. I want to
I'm assuming it was.
say, was it? Mm, it wouldn't have been. Would it? Was it after 2017?
It was either that year or 18-19. But yeah, he went. But that's even though he played both of those seasons in full, he still that's when the foot issues were starting to develop. So,
Yeah.
but again, that's the point. They just they again they sometimes we just said it, they've made the mistakes. And yes, after he got the deal, it turned out bad because the health issue he started getting unhealthy. His feet were giving him issues. But
Hmm.
now he's in Seattle and he's playing pretty damn well in Seattle now. So just won a
Yeah.
Super Bowl. But like we said, Dallas usually rewards you if you're productive. But I think, like we said, they're going to give him another year and say, look, let's see what you do in year two, and we'll go from this after the season next year. But I like the way that they're approaching it. Instead of just throwing out there and saying, hey, let's just pay him off of 1 year. Let's give him an extra year and let's see what happens.
Hmm.
With that being said, where do you think all right, let's look at this before we call it a night. Let's look at this real quick. Let's look at the highest paid wide receiver in the league, and that's JSN,
Hmm.
who is now making an average of $42.1 million a year.
Hmm.
Where do you think George Pickens falls into that? I don't think he's worth $42 million a year.
33. If it's not the Cowboys, if he gets a multi-year deal with another team to be their wide receiver one.
If he goes to a team to be their one, I could see a team paying him $38 million a year. Unfortunately, I think teams would do it. There would be a team desperate enough to do it.
If
If
he
it's
puts up
Dallas,
another 13, 1400 year next year, yes. Yes,
yes.
I agree.
I think if he stays in Dallas because of all the money they have given, to just pay, they already paid Javonte Williams,
Hmm.
which honestly that's surprising that off of that 1 year he's having that they're paying him, but also a running back, which
Hey,
I'm
it's
not
the
saying paying him.
Cowboys. They love paying their running backs.
They used to not. That's why the Eagles took one and it blew up in our face. But
Man, ew.
I could see Lamb. I could see Pickens going anywhere into that. If he stays in Dallas, I think anywhere from that 33 to 36 million a year dollar range, just because of how much money is wrapped up in that offense already with Williams, Lamb, and
Yeah.
Ferguson. If another team hops in and decides to pay him wide receiver one money, I think he easily eclipses the $38 million a year mark if he puts up another year like he did this year in Dallas.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not saying he can't be a wide receiver one. It's just I think he's a perfect fit in Dallas because of having CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
And that opens up so much of the field for him. So
Yeah, because I mean, it forces teams. Do you want to focus on stopping Lamb or Pickens? You have to pick your poison at that point.
not to mention then you have Ferguson running underneath somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
So if he stays in Dallas, he'll probably get less than what I'm expecting. He'll probably get, like I said, between 33
Yeah.
to 36. I could see teams going 36 and north of that if it's not in Dallas. But again, I think he's going to end up staying in Dallas. Why wouldn't you? The offense fits your play style. The
Yeah.
quarterback can get you the football. Why wouldn't you want to stay there?
He
I
wants to win
I
a ring.
personally will do that. Not to
If
mention,
if he wants to win a ring.
you want to talk about some battles next year. We're going to have Pickens and Lamb going up against DeJean, Mitchell, and Reek Woolen. Oh man, that's going to be some fun
Oh
matchups
yeah.
next year.
Oh, I can't watch Reek Woolen on Pickens.
There is a chance
DeJean
both
on
players will
Lamb.
get. There is a
They might get
chance.
ejected. It
Yes,
cancels.
that's how much
They cancel each other out. They'll both get ejected.
we're
One
getting
hundred
some
percent.
unsportsmanlike conduct penalties
Yeah.
that are going to be getting
Mhm.
guys ejected. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
But
First defensive drive for the Eagles. Yeah, I see that happening.
we're gonna have are we gonna have another Jalen Carter incident where we get thrown
Oh
out the first
no, no,
before the
no, no!
play even
Not
starts?
before the play starts. It'll be the first drive. First pass breakup, they start getting each other's faces.
Jeez. Starts ripping helmets off like freaking. Who was that? Was that Andre Johnson and Cortland Finnegan all those years ago that got into that big fight on the field?
Ooh, it might have been Andre.
That's a long time ago. I remember it was
That
Cortland
was.
Finnegan. That was a long time ago.
I used to love watching Andre Johnson play.
You want to talk about
Yeah,
underappreciated wide receivers.
underappreciated, underrated.
Yeah, there are some really underappreciated players in the NFL and the NBA too, honestly. With that being said, Tyler, anything else we want to bring up tonight?
No, that's about it for tonight.
It's only the start of the week, but
Yeah.
all right, guys, we're going to call this show a night. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight and talking some more NFL draft with us. Once again, thank you, everybody who joined our NFL draft shows last Thursday and Friday night. Absolute blast. Always enjoy talking to you guys in the comments. Thank you, everybody, for commenting in tonight. Always appreciate you guys giving your opinions and views on your teams in the NFL draft. Just a heads up, tomorrow, DA After Dark, George, Zolt, and I'm sure we'll be jumping into some more NFL draft talk. I'll probably give out more opinions on the Eagles draft. George will have his 49ers draft thoughts. Zolt with his Lions. We'll get into that. Wednesday morning, 10 a.m., Dustin and I will be back on for Hitting Home. Red Sox fired Alex Cora. We're talking about that. Lucas Giolito joined the Padres. And then, of course, we'll be back on Friday night, Tyler and I, for Birds of the Gridiron with a full Eagles draft thoughts. And, of course, we'll break down the Jonathan Grenard trade as well as the team picking up the fifth-year options for Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter. But, guys, thank you all for joining us tonight. We hope you enjoyed tonight's show. And we'll see you tomorrow night for some DA After Dark. Have a good night, guys, and we'll see you next time. For Tyler Adams, I am Sam Nelson. Good night, everybody.
The following has been a presentation of 609 Sports Talk Radio.
Sam, what did you do?